FBI Director Kash Patel is facing a fresh wave of scrutiny over a new excursion while on official FBI business when he was in Hawaii last summer. The Associated Press is now reporting that Patel took part in what government officials described as a VIP snorkel around a Pearl Harbor memorial in an outing coordinated by the military. It was revealed in government emails obtained by the Associated Press and occurred in one of this country's most sacred memorial sites. The AP reports this with few exceptions. Snorkeling and diving are off limits around the USS Arizona. The battleship, now a military cemetery reachable only by boat, has stood as one of the nation's most hallowed sites since Japan bombed and sank it in 1941. Marine archaeologists and crews from the National Park Service make occasional dives at the memorial to survey the conditions of the wreck. Other dives have been conducted, to enter the remains of Arizona survivors who wanted to rest eternally with their former shipmates. Now, the snorkeling session happened one day after Patel stopped in Washington to open the FBI's first standalone office in New Zealand. Patel's tenure leading the nation's top law enforcement agency has been littered with headlines about his use of taxpayer resources for travel, like back in February when Patel generated controversy for appearing to chug beer with the U.S. men's Olympic hockey team in Milan. Joining the conversation now, senior political analyst and contributing host on Pod Save America and host of the podcast Runaway Country, Alex Wagner is here, and Miles and General Hertling are still with us. General, let me start with you on this one. Talk to me about the significance of this site. Who manages this site? Who operates this site? I know you have personal experience with it. And how could something like this have happened?
Well, I was at one time in my career a member of the American Battle Monuments Commission, which has 26 cemeteries around the world outside the United States. There is a cemetery in Hawaii, in Honolulu, called the Honolulu American Cemetery. It is called the Punch Bowl in slang. It's in a volcano. The Arizona is different, though. That's run by the Park Service. And anyone that's been there knows that the sunken Arizona is still visible from the top of the water. And there is a platform over the top of it where visitors can go, lay wreaths, see and every once in a while, Eamon, there's little oil droplets that come up because it's still coming from the ship. But there are sailors interned in that ship. To have someone doing a snorkel trip around the Arizona would sort of be like running or having a 5K race through a cemetery. It's just ridiculous, and it's sacrilege. These places provide homage to those who gave their lives. And to me, this particular event that Mr. Patel went through just shows how much he's lost contact with reality and thinks that his position allows him to do these kind of things.
Yeah, deeply offensive and disrespectful. Alex, let me share some more of the Associated Press reporting. The former FBI directors have visited Pearl Harbor. They've done so on official business. None going back to at least 1993 has gone snorkeling at the memorial, according to those familiar with their activities, and a former government diver who spoke to AP on condition of anonymity for fear of retribution. The divers said it was unusual for a director or anyone not connected to the memorial to be granted such access because the swims come with physical risks and present security, safety, and logistical challenges. His tenure, of course, Alex, has been different and has been defined by stories like this, but this one even feels different than chugging beers with the U.S. Olympic hockey team.
Yeah, there's something about very important person snorkeling around a mass grave that does not ring normal, Eamon. And it also, I mean, independent of the sacrilege and the profound mismanagement of public resources and the taking advantage of his position, the corruption that's inherent in an activity like this, you have to wonder, like, when is Kash Patel working? He's snorkeling, he's drawing up batches of bourbon to give to his cronies, he's chugging beer overseas. I mean, this person is the head of the FBI at a time when the resources and the serious people in the building have been kicked out. There are very real threats to the homeland. Who has their hand on the captain's wheel? I mean, we already knew that the DOJ was beclowning itself with these bogus investigations and weaponized attacks against Trump's enemies. But this is another level of unseriousness that I think actually might resonate with Donald Trump. I mean, the idea, first of all, just the image of Kash Patel in a flippers and a snorkel mask is like disconcerting enough to be fired, but to be doing so at Pearl Harbor is another level of comedic inappropriateness and utter disqualification.
Yeah, Miles, I mean, you've worked for the government. You've traveled with senior officials. You've been on trips where I'm sure people take a minute to pay respects wherever they may be in situations like this. But this is different. I mean, how were your trips different than what Kash Patel is doing here?
Well, I've taken cabinet secretaries to that spot, to Pearl Harbor. I've organized that trip. I've led it. It never even occurred to me to say, bring your swimsuit, let's pop on a snorkel, and let's go swim through a cemetery, like the general said. Never occurred to me, was also never offered up to me. And this is pure speculation, but I've got to suspect that this was something that Kash Patel himself suggested doing. Otherwise, I don't know how it would have come up. But you hear all of this, and anyone who's been in government, in any administration, hears all of this and says, what the hell is going on here? The snorkeling, the chugging, the beers, the taking government jets to see his girlfriend performing. Kash Patel is acting like this is rich kids' spring break. That's not what this is. We are paying you to protect our interests. Doesn't seem like he's on the job very much, but when he is on the job, it seems like he's just focused on the president's retribution and going after his enemies and persecuting people and apparently sending agents to go investigate reporters who tell these stories, to go polygraph the FBI employees who are talking to those reporters to try to sound the alarm. This guy's got his priorities inside out. But it's not just him. This comes from the top, and I think that's what we have to focus here. Donald Trump is giving Kash Patel permission to do this, and we need to make sure that that is clear.